Hello everybody and welcome back to Neptune's Rings. We're here today with a fairly new game, Shadow Empire. It's a new 4X post-apocalyptic game that came out, I believe, the 4th of June, just earlier this month. And I've had my eyes on it for a little while. And ever since it came out, I've been wanting to get a video out on it, but things have been very hectic for me. I just graduated, just moved, and finally settled in, so I'm back and ready to start making videos again. And I figured we'd start with this one, since this is the type of game that I personally prefer. Hopefully y'all enjoy it just as much as I do. But we'll go ahead and jump right in. Sorry, I'm already exploring things. So for anyone who's never watched or played this game, it's like I said, it's 4X game, post-apocalyptic. We're the remnants of this super advanced race that escaped the Earth solar system, and a bunch of tyrants, and we had a very, prosperous, peaceful civilization going on for thousands of years, and then finally infighting and a bunch of other things led to its collapse. And during this collapse there was a great war that basically destroyed a bunch of technology, trade routes and everything, and left large portions of the population just gone and dead. So we're trying to rebuild and regain control of our planet here so that we can start rebuilding our once great empire. So that's where we come in. We are going to hopefully dominate this planet and bring it under the control of the Kuiper Empire. And we'll see if we succeed. But guess to get started, gotta explain a few things. This game's pretty complicated. There's a lot of things going on in the background, and there's a great manual out there for kind of explaining some things. But what's also great about this game is it's not like something like a Hearts of Iron or something super in depth where like you kind of have to understand everything going on to get it to be able to play it well. There's a few just basic concepts you need to understand to actually start playing and doing stuff, and if you don't want to learn all the in-depth stuff, you don't necessarily have to. You can still play the game and have a very successful game. But then when you get more in depth into some of the details of it, it does open up a lot more avenues to control and dominate and make things much more efficient and powerful. Sorry about that. So basically we have our resources over here. See, everything's positive so far. We got our food, water, fuel, ammo, metal, industrial points or IP, power, radioactives, which I've never dealt with in my test games. I've never gotten that far, so hopefully we'll get there in this playthrough. Recruits, colonists, rare metals, machines, and high-tech parts. I've messed around with all these except for radioactive, so I'm excited to get that far, hopefully. And one of the big things about this game early on starting out is during this war we lost all of our knowledge of power production. And currently we have this old mini reactor. It's a liquid energy reactor which used to fuel the entire empire, which is part of the reason why things fell apart to begin with. But this is only giving us 100 power, and we cannot upgrade it at all. So we have to deal with that until we can research and build power plants or solar plants or whatever. And you might think, okay, easy, just go and research it and then build it. Well, in this game, research isn't that straightforward. It's a lot more organic in the fact that I'll be able to show y'all better in turns to come, but basically here's our tech tree, and this is all the tech that we can discover right now, but we can't just go and directly discover it. We're going to have a research council, or a council, that's going to be in charge of discovering these technologies, and it's going to be a random chance of which one gets discovered. and after that we can go and choose which one we want to research. But first we have to get lucky and have a power plant or solar energy farm discovered so that we can research them. Sorry about that. And I've seen playthroughs where people are really unlucky and the solar plant is the last thing to research, and it holds them back a lot because there's certain buildings that require power, and until you get power sorted out, you just cannot advance your colony anymore unless you take over other factions. And sometimes it's very hard to take over another faction if you don't have power to advance your military complex. I've also had playthroughs myself where I've researched power plants, so solar plants to be exact, almost immediately, and I've been able to hit the ground running. So hopefully that'll be the case here, but we never really know. We're going to go ahead and start with our decisions. I've decided I'm going to kind of play through the game, and as I run into things, I'll kind of explain them, because like I said, this is a very in-depth game. And to explain everything right off the bat would take the entire episode, and I kind of don't want to just have sit here explain and just have y'all like forced to watch that. I feel like that's not necessarily fun. Maybe in the future I'll make a tutorial set of videos to explain everything in depth so that y'all can actually understand everything more in depth and get the feel for it. But right now I kind of want to do this series as more as a playthrough. And see how far we can get, because like I said, I've been really looking forward to this game, and I just kind of want to get in there and see where we can get. But we're going to start with our decisions up here. We have our ascension speech, which basically we just took power of this empire, and we need to reassure everybody of what we're kind of aiming to move towards, like what our goals are. And here you can see every choice costs 1 PP, or it has a cost. And PP is our political points here, which we'll generate from our Supreme Council. And that's basically how we're going to make these decisions and how we'll place stratagems, which I'll cover a little bit later. And it's basically our political points. So to do different political things, we need those points. And each choice has a consequence. All these are fairly good consequences, depending on how you look at them, of course. But basically, they'll improve our enforcement, commerce, or government. If you go over here, these are all of our our profiles. So this is what our empire kind of leans towards. So we're leaning towards democracy, commerce, and mind, which will give us bonuses. As you can see, we get 4. We'll do mind. 4. If we have a mind greater than 4 for 3 turns, then we'll get a 30% research bonus and a stratagem and a unit feat. So we kind of want to try to keep our profiles going in the direction that we want them, because we're going to get perks for them, and the other profiles are going to kind of control what we can do. I believe the meritocracy is going to limit our democracy profile, but the autocracy is going to limit the meritocracy profile. So this is going to keep on pulling this one down, but this one's going to pull this one down, and this one's going to kind of, I guess, raise this one up. So that one's kind of confusing to kind of wrap your head around, but basically the different profiles kind of work together to kind of try to reach a balancing point. So you're going to constantly have to keep on trying to pull which ones up that you want up. As you can see here, I'm trying to kind of go towards the commerce profile, so we're going to choose this one, which happens to make our some of our council members happy, our cabinet members, which is probably because that's the profile that we lean towards. So obviously it's gonna make them happy because that's what our government is leaning towards. Okay, here we're gonna add another organization, another council to our structure here. We're gonna start with the economic council, that way we can get research and prospecting going.
Understood.
And we're gonna go ahead and hold off on making our town into a big town.
Yes, sir.
For now, because right now, as you can see, each town level requires a certain population level, and we are over that. However, as your town grows, they're going to expect a bit more quality of life, like a civilization score here. The higher your town level, the more they're going to expect from you, the better the town kind of has to be. So we're going to hold off on that for now until we can start growing our town a little bit better. And that's going to be that for our decisions. Now we're going to go ahead and start moving our troops around. As you can see, we start with some militia troops here. We have a set of militia riflemen with some trucks and artillery and buggies. Those are going to move a lot faster and hit a little bit harder because of the buggy and the artillery. That's our Supreme HQ, which basically handles all the supply to our troops, but it does not move. It just is stationed out of here in Metatown. We have another militia unit here with RPG, rifle, bikers, MGs, and artillery with trucks to carry them all around, so they have a much greater move range than, say, our riflemen here. Do they have? Yeah, they have a bit bigger range right now. We're kind of limited by the forests in the area, but along roads, if we had more discovered, the trucks would be able to move a lot farther down the roads than the actual foot soldiers. So we're going to start moving them in different directions to expand our borders, because we want to grow as fast as possible without actually growing too fast that we can't keep up and our people will be unhappy, and we won't be able to defend our borders, because there are other factions out there that are going to be trying to actively either join us or thwart us. So, and we want to get out there and make sure that they don't surround us and halt our expansion, especially if we're still especially once we grow big enough that we can keep on expanding. We don't want them to kind of get in our way of that. So I'm going to send our militiamen up north, because they can actually walk through the forest pretty easily, but our trucks won't be able to. So they're going to explore that way, and we'll send this one this way to expand our borders a little bit. I'm actually going to send another one. I want to send it right there to get that little hex, just to expand away from our town, because our people don't like it when our borders are super close to the town. They feel unsafe and unprotected, so we want to expand our borders and get them safe, or the safety that they desire. And send these guys up that way. We're gonna send these guys kind of down in this direction. Kind of just expanding away. You can see we got this little town here and this town here, and these are basically just little, like, small villages with people living in them. And once we expand into them, if our quality of life in our town is, if our people are happy, then these people will start moving into our town and our population will expand, which will allow us to grow into bigger and bigger towns, as well as have more buildings, because they'll be able to man them. If we don't have enough workers, we can't build more buildings, obviously. And what I'm sorry, I kind of glossed over it. What the town size does for us is it basically allows us to build higher tiered buildings. So right now, as a level 2 town, a small town, we can only build level 2 buildings. So we can only upgrade our high command once. If we wanted to go level 3, we'd have to upgrade our town to level 3. Obviously, the private we have our public assets and our private assets. We can build public assets, and that's what we kind of control. But our population build their own private assets, and they have their own private economy that they run. And they follow slightly different rules, as you can see here with them and their level 3 dome farm, which is fine. But for us, we have to follow these rules. And I think that's going to be our first turn. We got our people moved. We want to start building industry as soon as possible so we can get more industrial points. Eventually we can find ruins or metal deposits so we can build metal mines and increase our metal production, because that's going to be our limiting factor, because as you can see here in industry, it's going to take 500 metal for 3 rounds, so we need 1,500 metal to build our industry 1 and get 50 industrial points. So that's going to be a bit of our limiting factor right there. Right now, as well as 4 rounds, 400 for our high command. But right now what we can build is a bureaucratic office, which is going to give us bureaucratic points. And that's basically the, I guess, the currency that our nation uses to research and produce other stratagems and stuff like that. It's kind of what it gets distributed to grow our empire. But as you can see, it takes 200 metal, and we're just shy of that right now. So we're going to hold off for probably 2 more turns, depending if we can hit 200 next turn, which I kind of doubt. But we'll try. Once we hit 200 metal, we'll build those up, and we'll basically double our bureaucratic point production. As you can see, we're making 50 now. And it gets divided up into... For one, it gets divided between the 2 our 2 councils currently, but however many councils we end up with eventually, it will be divided up between them all. And then within the council, we're going to be able to set limits and divide up the points even further to produce different things. Like the Supreme Council here produces our political power, our political points, as well as general stratagems. So once we get the Economic Council, we'll have discovery and research and prospect, and a lot of different things that our bureaucratic points will be divided up into. So we want more of those, so each subsection will have more points to divide amongst themselves. But as for now, we're just going to end our turn and see what happens. We are a little intern phase where we see all the other AIs taking their turns. Currently, since we've not met anybody, we're still very small. We have fog of war going on, so we can't see what everyone's doing yet. So it's kind of a little boring right now, but as time progresses, we'll start seeing troop movements, maybe raiders or animals. I believe we have about 2 meter long carnivorous land-based jellyfish creatures that we have to deal with. So that's going to try to hinder our growth. But as this gets longer, or as we progress further into the game, these end turns are going to get longer. So I'm probably going to start editing those out, probably in a couple of videos once they start getting too long. But as for now, I'm going to go ahead and leave them in so we can kind of see what's happening between turns. This is one of the epics that we're in. It's a time of confidence, which is going to increase our word score. These can be good or bad depending on what epic it is. We lucked out and we have a decent one right now. It's kind of neutral because it doesn't really grow our word score too much, but it's still good. And we see when you're expanding, when you find towns and different things like that, you'll have events like this where your people will find different things within the town. So we found 400, almost 500 credits in that town. Sometimes you'll find old troops and equipment to make stronger units. We got stratagem. These stratagems are basically just cards that you get that you can play using political points. Then they'll have different purposes. Like this one is gonna basically help the leader make a skill roll, so that you have a better chance of something good happening. Some of them will add units to our cabinet, so we have more people to assign as commanders. Some of them will give the private industry money, different things like that. So here we are on our turn. We have a lot of money this turn. Wow, we have a lot of decisions to make too. Sometimes decisions cost money, or those decisions to give certain groups money. So we'll see what happens. Joe Van Dark wants to execute a relative. That's pretty dark. No, this is irregular, but my honor is involved here. My daughter has committed a crime against an allied family. They demand justice. I'd like to pass this sentence myself and execute my own family member. It is best this way, or that way. No, that's kind of dark. I don't. What does a family member do if your daughter did the crime? We're going to kind of go with this one because it's going to increase our mind profile, which is one of the profiles we're actually trying to actively go towards. is going to decrease our enforcement, which is overall going to bring down our commerce. But for right now, we're just going to increase our mind, bring it above 50, so we have chance of getting more perks from that, as well as it makes this guy happy. And he has the lowest relation with us, so that'll be the better of the two.
Yes,
go ahead
sir.
and do that. And when I say more perks, if you go over here into our profiles, see all of the different profiles, and as you get more and more points in each profile, you gain more and more chances of picking up these different perks. So at 40, we start getting at 40 mind, we start getting a chance to get this technology fascination, which is a research bonus and a stratagem. At 50, we can start we get a chance to unlock curiosity, which we have 50, and the higher your points or the higher your mind is, the higher the chance that you're going to unlock this perk. And so on and so on. So that's what I mean by the perks. Militia Parade. Do we want to give so the militia, basically this is our militancy score. We come down to Metatown, we have 100 points or 100% militancy level, and that's actually not a bad thing. That's basically our militia's willingness to cooperate with the Empire, and basically they send us free troops to secure our borders and expand. So we want that to be high, at least beginning with, so that we can get free troops to kind of move around. But right now, we're pretty high, so I'm going to take, I don't want to spend the 200 credits, so we're just going to take the 5-point hit.
Understood.
It shouldn't hurt us too much. Adventurers discover special location. We have received a radio contact from Hex 6218, a private expedition by some of your people. Has established control over the special hex. They're requesting help holding it. Let's go ahead and see where that hex is. It's over here. So one, we'll get free troops out of this. Not a lot, but still free troops. But two, they've discovered a special hex, special asset here. So it only gives us +1 PP. So I'm not terribly interested in it. And to get our troops all the way over there it'll take us a while, and we'll probably end up losing those troops to starvation before we can get over there. So we're actually just going to say no to that one, which is going to bring up our enforcement, which is going to stop limiting our commerce a little bit, which is actually pretty good.
We'll go.
Ooh, this is a huge commerce boost. Oh, but okay, so CEO, it would help the Weber Corporation to work better in the interest of the Union if we could give them a small subsidy. So if I say no, they're going to be mad at me. But if I say yes, we're going to have a huge... Oh, I thought that was like 15 or 45. It's just 5. While that would be nice, I don't want the corporations taking control of our civilization here. Because as you can see here, they're stealing money from our private economy. And they're making our people less happy. So we kind of don't want them to gain control. Over here, though, our cult... it's actually giving us a bonus to production and a loyalty bonus, so we kind of want to be on their side if any of those events come up. So we're going to say no to the subsidy. It's going to make a few people angry because they're probably either members of the corporation, or they are advisors who are looking after our economics. But we're going to go ahead and just say no, because I don't want the corporation. They are unhappy with us. I don't want them gaining too much power, and hopefully that will help limit the power of them, their control. And hopefully they don't get too mad at us, because if they get too mad, I believe they can start like actually waging war and stuff against us. They can spawn rebels and really cause a problem for us. Here's since we just formed an economic council, we have to allocate the budget to them, so we're going to just do a 50-50 divide for right now. Just gonna make our Supreme Council mad, but that's okay, because we need the Economic Council running. We need a director for the Economic Council. I believe they need an interpersonal rating to be good for this. Economics. Or no, I guess a technical rating. Maybe. I'm not entirely sure, actually. But he's capped 2. I'm going to go ahead to stratagems cards and see if we have a card to make... Yeah, recruit a junior. This is going to basically give us another person who we can choose between. He's not much better. He's actually arguably worse. He is much worse. So we're just going to appoint this guy, and hopefully with his cap 2 rating, he'll be able to grow into position. The cap is basically their capacity to grow into their position. So lower capacity means they're not going to really improve or get skills that are going to help them become more suitable. And the higher cap means they'll grow faster and become better. Since he's cap 2, I feel better, as well as he's got more skills.
Yes, sir.
Economic Council, here we want discovery chance because we need to have we need technologies that we can actually research. So we're going to drop our economic policies here down to 10, because that's just going to get us stratagems. And right now we don't really need those too much. We're going to drop our prospecting down to 20. That's basically going to find resource nodes on the map within our borders, which we need, but right now I feel we need research more. So we're going to put that up at 50 so we find a lot of things to research, and then later on we'll switch it up a little bit. But right now, that's what we're going to go with. This is our cult, and they want to have a private or personal mediation session. And we like our cult. They're very research friendly. They're more meritocracy than democracy, but that's okay. As long as that doesn't overtake our democracy, we're fine. And it's going to make people happy, so we're going to go ahead and go with that one for right now. I believe that's going to give us a better... it'll probably show up next turn. But it'll give us a better production bonus. And I believe that they are actually giving us a research bonus. So if we come over here to our cults and sects... yeah, the cult, the attorney movement is giving us plus 230 research bonus points, which I believe is like a 2% research bonus. 2.3% research bonus, I think. I think every 100 is 1%. And that's all of our decisions for this turn. So we're going to go ahead and just go and move our troops out to expand our borders. Let's go ahead and look at the fear. Yeah, looks like we expand our borders enough so that they're no longer in danger. I'm sorry, they're in their danger levels, so that's good. Now we're just going to start moving out to explore rather than to decrease our danger levels. And we'll see what we... Oh, okay. What did we run into? Detail. It's an unknown enemy right now, but they kind of hit us pretty hard, which is unfortunate. That's why you want to be very careful when you're exploring out into these areas, because you can run into, those could be raiders or they could be giant jellyfish. We don't know right now. So we're just going to move along a lot more calculatedly. We kind of follow the road, and there's another one. Non-aligned force, so those are probably raiders, I'd assume. These are also not aligned, so I assume these are two units of raiders that we're going to have to deal with, because as you can see, they're halting our expansion right now. And we want to expand as fast as possible, because if we run into any major regimes, then we have an automatic assumption that we will not violate each other's borders. So, if we run into major regimes' borders, we can't expand that way anymore, and if they start surrounding us, then we're going to be trapped, which is bad. Let's go ahead and take a look at our resources. We're just off from being able to build our bureaucratic offices. I'm going to go ahead and start construction now, and hopefully, I don't know what gets calculated first, the resource gains or the construction. So hopefully it's the resource gains, so next turn when we start, we'll be able to actually start production and have it done the following turn. But we will see. It probably does construction before resource gains, but that's fine. It's not going to make much of a difference. We'll just finish the next turn, which we would have done anyway. And that looks like that is that for this turn. We're still gaining resources. Not quite fast enough, but it's a little slow at the beginning until we can prospect some mining deposit or find some ruins to grow our economy. So for now, we're just gonna end our turn here, and that'll probably be the end of this episode. We're just gonna go through what the intern was and what happened. But some ruins out here. The intern, it kind of glitches sometimes, so we shouldn't be able to see those ruins, I don't think, because of our fog of war. Maybe we should, I don't know. Sometimes they'll show farther road expansions than what you would expect to see. Oh, I didn't move those guys. I should have started moving them back here to try to link them up for logistics, which we'll have to go over in the next episode, because we're gonna have to start thinking about that with all these troops moving around. Okay, so we had, looks like the raiders or whatever they are, they attacked, and we lost 100 infantry, probably to that one group starving. We discovered hospitals, so now we can go and research that. Since it's our only research possibility, they'll automatically research it. Let's see. We can go back to the history and go to the next battle. You can see these guys attacked us up here, and they lost, oh no, we lost, we were the defenders. So their rifle militia, way more than we had, killed 100 of our MG, our rifle militia. The only reason we even remotely survived that is because our MG militia held the line, luckily. Looks like these guys over here backed off though, so that's good. Let's go back to the map. Let's see, do you have more MGs? No. Okay, so that's a little bit of a problem. We're gonna need to get more troops over there, but that we will figure out in the next episode, because I think this is a good stopping point. It's a really easy game to get into that mentality of one more turn, so I'm gonna be very careful when I say one more turn or this is our stopping point. We're just gonna stop there, because I can play this for hours and hours and hours. But this has been Neptune's Rings in Shadow Empire. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you're as interested in this game as I am. I'll see y'all